Today I'm going to be ranking all of Jason's unmasked faces from the Friday the 13th films. Now, for the most part, this is going to be film only. There's going to be one exception since I'm pretty sure it has basis in what the film was going to do, at least from what I've been able to tell. But otherwise, this is going to be all of the unmasked Jason faces that are in the films. I'm also not going to be counting Swamp Boy Jason from the first Friday the 13th film, just because he isn't the Jason that we all know, and it's not really an unmasked face since he wasn't wearing a mask in that movie. So he won't be there, and of course I won't be counting Roy Burns from Friday the 13th Part 5 since he is just a copycat Jason. So getting into it, I have 10 spots, and at the bottom at number 10 is Jason from Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. This design is just ugly, and I feel like not necessarily in that, oh, the character's supposed to be ugly kind of way, like it's just bad looking ugly. It looks cheap because that movie had a very low budget, and I don't know, it just looks dumb. Like a lot of people say he looks like a Muppet, and I 100% agree with that. This just does not look good. I really don't have too much to say about this one. There's not really anything that I like about it, except for maybe the kind of like slimy prune skin, I guess, just adding to that waterlogged appearance. Yeah, this design sucks. It's very easily the worst Jason face design, at least in my opinion. Moving up to number 9, there is Jason's face in Jason X. This is the normal Jason. Now go ahead and add here, I have seen where I think the Friday the 13th game kind of had an unmasked face for the Uber Jason, but I haven't really seen much of that. I didn't really keep up with the Friday the 13th game, so I don't know if it was actually in it. Can't remember if Jason X actually made it into that game or if he was just intended to before they stopped working on it. But yeah, that's not going to be here. But this is the design that appears in the film briefly. It's not the worst thing in the world, I guess. My thing is, and I can't really quite place my finger on why, he just looks really goofy to me here. I don't know if it's the weird sort of like the colors going across his face, but like I feel like the eyeball looks kind of goofy and something about like his mouth and teeth and stuff. I don't know, he just looks goofy, and I'm not really a fan of that. I don't consider this one outright terrible like the Jason Takes Manhattan face, but this one just doesn't do it for me. And next up at number 8 is the Freddy vs. Jason unmasked design. You don't get the best look at this one in the film itself. A lot of toys and stuff show this one off, but this is the intended face design. And I'm not really sure what to say. This one just never really did it for me. He kind of looks like some sort of, he kind of gives me goblin vibes. I don't know, something about like the nose, I guess. Plus I just feel like he has this permanent look of just like he just smelled something gross. And again, this is just a design that doesn't do it for me. I never liked this one even as a kid when Freddy vs. Jason was coming out. I wouldn't say it's a bad Jason face like Part 8, but this is another one where even if it doesn't like offend me or something, it just doesn't do anything for me. Then moving up at number 7 is the face design from Jason Goes to Hell. Now this is what I mentioned before about being the design that wasn't really in the movie, but from what I was able to kind of see, it looked like this was at least semi-intended, because I saw some behind the scenes stuff with what looked to be Kane Hodder in, you know, the suit and makeup and everything. I'm more than happy to count this one, especially since most of the community seems to be going with this as, you know, yeah, this is what he looks like under the mask. And I think this one's pretty cool. If you watch my video ranking the different designs of Jason from the movies, you know that Jason Goes to Hell is my least favorite. I don't like that one. But I do dig the idea of the face becoming a part of him, being embedded in the skin. I like how this plays off of that with everything under the mask, just having the skull showing and being all mushy. Like, he definitely looks really gross here, but I think in a cool way, unlike Part 8. Seriously, I can't stress enough, fuck the Part 8 face design. But yeah, I dig this. I like how it goes along with the whole face being embedded in the skin thing, and I think it looks pretty neat. Again, like the exposed skull stuff is pretty cool looking. Then at number 6, we have Part 6, Jason from Jason Lives. And it sounds kind of weird for me for this to be ranked so low, or at least it's sounding like it's low at just number 6. I like this one a lot. I think it's pretty effective in the movie itself with being in shadow and stuff like that. Like, it looks really good in that opening scene, and I really dig this one. This is the first time we see zombie Jason, and he has a really cool and just downright scary looking design. I find this one to be very freaky and intimidating, especially in the way that the movie plays it off. Then at number 5 is the remake face from Friday the 13th 2009, and this one's pretty cool. There is a part of me, I'll kind of get this out of the way, that feels like it's maybe trying a little hard to look scary, if that makes sense. But once you get past that, I like it. What looks to be the blind eye is really freaky, his mouth and everything, like it definitely plays off the whole deformed look very well. Like, it looks good. And again, this is one of the few Jason designs where I don't really mind the hair. Yeah, there's not too much for me to say here. I think it's a pretty solid, freaky looking face design. It might be trying ever so slightly too hard to look scary, but I'm not gonna really hold that against it because I feel like it works very well. Then at number 4 is Jason from Friday the 13th Part 2, old Farmer Jason. And this is one that's always freaked me out a bit because the deformities really work, but then you have like his long hair and like the beard and stuff. He really does look like a guy that's been hanging out in the woods most of his life, just surviving. Yeah, I think it works pretty well. Like, it's fairly scary in the movie itself, even though it's briefly seen. And I think it works very well with what they were going for with Jason in this movie. At number 3, oh wow, I didn't realize that I did this twice. At number 3 is Jason from Part 3. And yeah, this one's pretty good. I kind of like this as sort of a standard human Jason face design. And I gotta say, when he appears at the end chasing, what was her name? Chrissy, while she's out in the boat, he looks pretty freaky there. Definitely scary, I would say. And also the bit where he's trying to get the rope from around his neck and the mask comes up and you see him and like he smiles and stuff. Just freaky looking, man. I think this design works very well for Jason and looks pretty cool. Then at number 2 is Jason from Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. I do think that on the whole, this is probably my favorite unmasked Jason face in terms of human Jason. That can kind of switch spots sometimes with Part 3. And it's kind of funny that the rankings of Parts 3 and 4 are reversed from how it was in my design ranking video. Because even though his ears still look a bit odd to me, I think on the whole, this Jason's terrifying. Just the way his teeth look, of course the deformities and the damage he's taken both in this movie and the stuff that sticks from Part 3. But yeah, when he gets the mask knocked off and he's kind of just like staring and everything, like, I think he's pretty scary in that scene. This unmasked design is very effective and it's well done in the movie. Great effects, a great scene, it's awesome. And then at number 1, I'm sure you can already deduce which one it is Jason from Friday the 13th Part 7, A New Blood. I think this is the best zombie Jason unmasked face. It just looks extremely cool, extremely freaky. You see all of the damage he's taken not only in Part 7, but in the previous movies. I feel like it's pretty expressive too, and you see it a good chunk, like the last, 20 minutes of the movie, like Jason doesn't have the mask, so you get to see this one a good bit too. Just yeah, I think this is the best unmasked face design. I will say I might not prefer something this decayed and zombie-like on your sort of average or typical Jason, but for the sheer cool factor and just overall freakiness, it definitely goes to this design. So yeah, that's my ranking for the various unmasked face designs for Jason Voorhees from the Friday the 13th film series. Tell me, what are your rankings for Jason's face designs? Which one do you like best? Which one do you like least? Let me know down in the comments. And before we go, I want to thank my members on Patreon. In my average bird tier, there is Schmoptimus Prime, and in my Birds of Prey tier, there is Austin Gillis and Darth Spooby. You guys are awesome and I really appreciate the channel support. And as always, I want to give a big thanks to everyone for watching, and have a good one.